Hello ladies and gentlemen, Screen Scene Guru here again for another topic video on media. We've got, let's see, after the Scorsese story of him being involved in AI production for storyboards, many on social media were upset to hear about the news, unfortunately. We've got California State General may block the Warner Brothers and Paramount merger deal. So that was a news story that came out a few days ago. This was last week. Catching up on the news, the story trades. So going on from that, a federal authority, Section 7, the Clayton Act, prevents these big corporate media conglomerates from merging together. I feel like a lot of these corporate big tycoons aren't reading the laws that have been pre-established. Of course, they have a new term for this, monosony. Excuse me. But instead of a monopoly, it's a monosony, which is kind of interesting. So we'll get into the definition real quick. A monoposony, which is kind of interesting. I'll spell it out. M-O-N-O-P-S-O-N-E. So it's when two different service providers merge under one owner. So usually they're owned by several different parties and they're different competing service providers. So in the last few years, we've seen, Disney acquire Fox. Now we're going into Paramount buying Warner Brothers. And a lot of people are upset. A lot of countries, state generals like California and New York are teaming up to try to prevent this. So a monosony is when a lot of service providers are only owned by one buyer. So that's, of course, the Ellisons, who own pretty much all of big media right now. We just heard about the acquisition of Roku, actually was just bought by Fox News for $22 billion. So the far right is getting their hands very closely to all forms of media and content providing. We've seen, let's see, going on from there, we've got Supergirl. They're saying it cost $175 million, with early reports that it needs to make at least $115 million to break even. We're not exactly sure. David Grush, like I said, was on the steps of the Capitol doing a whole whistleblowing, telling basically his story from Congress. We got to see people from Congress, Rep. Luna, Burchett, Eric Burleson there. So that was really cool. More ufologists are gathering. After the release of Disclosure Day, I was able to go out and check it out. I thought it was all right. I did give an out-of-theater review. So if you guys haven't seen that, check it out. But let's go on. So Texas has issued a state of disaster after the 60-year return of the screwworm. And this is due to cattle being brought up from Mexico, South America, with the disease, with the mite, if you will. These are bugs that have larvae that hatch in wounds, and then they eat the animal from the inside. Very gross stuff, and an area has been quarantined, but it's already jumped the quarantine zone. It's in Arizona and other places across the country due to cattle, and it does affect dogs and cats, which is really concerning for people, pet lovers. Ridley Scott is working with Hugh Jackman on a Treasure Island film. So that's a new project coming out. And Hugh Jackman's supposed to be playing the role of Long John Silver. So that's pretty cool. Obsession has officially surpassed Paranormal Activity's $193 million. It's already made $220 worldwide. So that's really cool. The budget was sub 1 million, so it was under. Wide release success since Blair Witch Project in '99, and they also mentioned it had a very small release, but it gained money like E.T. in the '80s, so there hasn't been a record broken like that. since E.T. and Blair Witch. Artemis 3 crew was revealed, all men, which I thought was kind of, going back to the 60s and 70s of it all with Apollo, but this is now Artemis. Would have liked to see some ladies in the crew, of course, maybe for Artemis 3 and 4. And of course, with the reveal of For All Mankind, season 5 has wrapped up. You guys need to check it out on Apple TV. And Star City has begun with its first 2 episodes, I believe, released. So a lot of good content going on for space lovers. Masters of the Universe unfortunately had a very small debut with only $54 million, so it was officially a big summer flop. We got Taylor Lautner and his wife are expecting a baby girl, which he said he's been, I guess, waiting for his whole life, which is cool. It's really nice to hear, people expecting family life, Let's see. Oh yeah, so we've got, I'm trying to pronounce their names right, guys. Mariska Hickridge and Christopher Millock cheered at the Knicks game. These were, of course, the main leads from Law and Order. So really cool that they were there for the Knicks. A lot of famous celebrities were there, like Sydney Sweeney, I believe the Kim Kardashians and others. So yeah, they were all celebrating for the Knicks' big 5th game. Netflix first look at Scooby-Doo live action. I did post on my Out of the Theater review, guys. If you watched it at the end, there's clips of news drops, scoops, mostly from Threads and TikTok. But they have revealed the first look at Scooby-Doo in the live action series. And it looks like he's just a regular dog. There's no plans on him speaking, which I'm kind of concerned about. But yeah, very interesting stuff. And of course, after the Knicks won their game, there was a large fire that broke out in a school bus in New York. A lot of people just going crazy about the celebrations, which means, I don't really care about these sports games that much, but it is concerning when there's public damage. And there were stabbings, shootings, all kinds of stuff. The White House had its big UFC stage fight, which was pretty awesome. They brought out Nitro Circus, which I didn't think they'd bring out someone like that, but it was the president's 80th birthday, so they had a big celebration. He claimed that the deal with Iran has gone through. He has now flown to Paris to sign this supposed peace agreement and denuclearization on Friday. So supposedly towards the end of the week, we're going to hear some news about that. We got Man of Tomorrow. Lex Luthor's suit was revealed. Of course, a lot of people are really excited about that. Michael J. Fox turns 65 years old. We've got leaks of the Spider-Man trailer. Of course, hasn't been leaked officially yet, but as I'm recording this, it is June 16th. So they're supposed to drop a trailer tomorrow, I believe, on the 17th. So that is fun. John Lithgow at 80 makes history at the Tony Awards as the oldest star to win a lead actor award. So that's really cool. Jason Momoa drops out of Helldivers, tells them they need to find a new lead, which was kind of concerning. And of course, Paramount is teaming up with the Duffer Brothers to do a project in 2027, and they're rumored to have a project ready by November of this year. So we're not exactly sure what the project is in November or next year. The Brazil UFO files have been released, showing decades of craft orbs over Brazil, their Air Force trying to follow them, just like ours have. Giants, the Cree in Canada, were discussed on Joe Rogan's podcast, and as well in the Middle East. So that's really cool. Matt Damon talks about a new Jason Bourne movie in the works being fast-tracked, probably due to the success of The Odyssey. It's looking very good. So yeah, that's really cool. Then we've got Ellie, a prequel to the Legally Blonde series, is going to be released on Prime. You might have seen advertisements for it. It's Actually, the actress from Legally Blonde's daughter, I believe, is going to be in that. So that's cool. Talking about Dave Filoni is not happy with the new Star Wars Starfighter movie happening. He apparently doesn't have creative control over it. It's a new original story, and now that the flop of Mandalorian and Grogu has gone down, it sounds like he's quite upset with where they're taking Star Wars, even though he is the co-executive chairman of Lucasfilm. House of the Dragon Season 3 debuted its biggest season yet. It had a 72-minute first episode, which a lot of people said this was the finale from Season 2 that they cut. So they had a very strong opening to Season 3, the Battle of the Gullet. Whalefall trailer dropped online. It hasn't been playing in the theaters yet, but I've been waiting to see it. Well, I saw it online, but I haven't seen it in the theater. I want to see it on the big screen. UK courts are trying to stop the merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers as well, trying to do an inquiry on them. Disclosure Day, it had a 91% on the opening night, but now that has dropped to 80%, and it just made about $40 million, so just about fair, even, for a Spielberg movie. Focus Features is owned by Universal Studios, so I wanted to bring that up because there's a couple of movies coming out from Focus Features, like that Pressure movie with Brendan Fraser. I want to check out, but it's, yeah, very interesting. Spider-Man 4 trailer leaks. They've been going on all week. We're ready for the official trailer. Moana trailer, the last trailer they dropped, looked great. It looked like something they should have advertised from the beginning. Dr. Andrea Pertridge allegedly used a device to contact NHI, non-human entities. He also used a device called the TD100 to enhance psychic abilities in the 60s and 70s. We don't know exactly. This is work that he did with the CIA. There's a news article from back in the 60s where he used this device to make the deaf hear through facial muscles. He put a tooth implant in them and they could hear without the use of their ears. Very interesting stuff. And then the government recruited him to use it on psychics to enhance their abilities. And from then it went into the black files, darkened out. We don't know what's going on with it. But the machine works by amplifying specific frequencies through facial nerves. So that's very interesting. Some patients could receive sound without relying on conventional hearing apparatuses. And some people claimed it gave them, greater ability. If they were psychic, it gave them more access to some ethereal plane or consciousness, cosmic awareness. So we've got a rumor that the government is stepping in to select psychic subjects, claiming it could enhance their ability to receive information, which we know that from the different classes, programs, and schools that they grab people up in. The device was intact when they found it. Now it's over at, I believe, the Cosmic Lighthouse or one of those YouTube pages. Dan Sherman, intelligence officer from the Air Force, claimed the device was classified in the 1990s, but the tool was used to power waves and to control motor functions. So basically all of human function is electrical circuits going off in the brain, and if they know how to control electrical patterns, waves, then they can control people as well. Just like the study of hypnosis and other things. But it's an alien contact machine, basically what it was created for, that psychics use, like a walkie-talkie, which is interesting. Volume 7 of Forbidden Science is out now with Jacques Vallée, and he talks about secret underground bases that he is aware of, where they have creatures that you would consider folklore, or, creatures we grew up hearing about that we believed weren't real. The government has them. They are attempting to communicate and build a language. And now we are coming to a time where more than our deaths are going to come and they're going to try to commune with us. So that's very interesting. Very much like Disclosure Day. They just want to talk, which is kind of funny. They're waiting for us to get ready emotionally and in the mind to communicate with them. 24 Jump Street was talked about, guys. In the works with Jonah Hill, Channing Tatum, and Ice Cube returning. I remember there was a rumor they were going to do a mix between Men in Black and 23 Jump Street. I guess that got scrapped. It's not happening. They're just moving on to do 24, which, okay. Toy Story is projected to have a $165 million opening. Really big. And I've heard Taylor Swift has a song in it. But yeah, really cool. George Miller wants to do one more Mad Max film and then one TV series in the universe of Mad Max, and then he says he's done. I'm kind of hoping they'll bring back Mel Gibson maybe as an older Max. Not sure if they will do that. Spider-Man tickets go on sale June 17th. I think I might have mentioned that before. Emma Stone joins the new Daniels movie. So the Daniels who created the Everything Everywhere All at Once. My Hero Academia is getting a live action film being made. Jennifer Lawrence is in a new movie on Apple about relationships, which is cool. After Die My Love, I'm waiting for her to be another big hit. Then we got Maggie Gyllenhaal is doing a French spy movie for Warner Brothers after The Bride didn't do too well. I still want to see The Bride, but apparently didn't make much money. Disclosure Day, like I said, only had an 82% Rotten Tomatoes. Supergirl, they've got kryptonite arrows they're shooting her with in the new clip. So I thought that was fascinating. You know, she's not just invulnerable through the whole movie. There are certain weapons that can hurt her. Let's see. Heart of the Beast, talked about the trailer for that. Whalefall. Social Reckoning looks pretty good. I'd like to see some of these trailers in the big screen, on the big screen. Israeli Space Defense Chief exposed in 2020. There was a federation, and in that several governments of the world were in communication with that federation. Well, he has now recently come out, and he's claimed that the Men in Black came to him after he exposed that story. Haimeshed led an investigation, completely vanished for 6 years after he came out in 2020. Now he's out. He's resurfaced, and he claims that not only him, but the Men in Black tried to intimidate others that tried to come forward and inform the public. So that's very interesting. They're not sure what the Men in Black are, if they are government officials or if they're entities themselves. Some people claim they see them appear through walls like they're nothing. That could be technology, or that could be they are not human. Very interesting. Haimeshed visited Men in Black. So yeah, he was visited by the Men in Black. He's got experts in Israel now trying to protect him, to make sure he's, you know, not taken care of in such fashion. Sebastian Stan, they said on the hot mic, Jeff Schneider dropped the fact that he is not Two-Face. It's actually Brian Tyree Henry's Two-Face, which I really like the casting. And then Sebastian Stan is Victor Zsasz, a serial killer that marks himself, kind of an obscure character in the Batman comics, but very interesting to know. But yeah, really cool news drop there. DC Studios is developing a Poison Ivy series, which I talked about. They want Megan Fox, maybe, not sure. And then, of course, Chris Sanders is set to direct the sequel to live action Lilo and Stitch. If you guys know the animated movies, Chris Sanders was the director and the voice of Stitch. So they're going to actually do a very good film with Lilo and Stitch 2, set to come out in 2027, or May of 2028, actually. But yeah, he directed the original animated film and was a voice for Stitch. Maybe they'll do the glitch with Stitch for the second movie, or maybe they'll do something from the TV show. He's claiming it's going to be an original story, because the way the ending of the live action was not good. First trailer for Gato, animated Pixar movie with cats, looked pretty good. Lewis Pullman is going to star in Spaceballs 2 with his father, Bill Pullman, and he's going to play a new character, Starburst, which is kind of fun name. Hell's Kitchen is coming back to the UK for a new reboot, so Gordon isn't done yet with Hell's Kitchen. Jurassic World 5 is in early development. Of course, they have to talk about that. And where this franchise is going, whenever they bring up franchises, it's like, oh, not a good time. Will Ferrell is eyed to play Inspector Gadget for Disney's rebooted Inspector Gadget, which you'd think he's a little old for Inspector Gadget, but he wants to work, so good on him. New Transformers movie in the works from It, Welcome to Derry writer, so that's very interesting. Singer Oliver Tree passed away at 32, unfortunately, in a helicopter crash in Brazil, as well as a woman that was bungee cord jumping, and her instructors didn't tie her off. Unfortunately, two of the men of the three ran from the event after witnessing the horror, the tragedy. They acquired all three of the men. They're now facing charges of manslaughter. Fortunately, her fiance was there when she was bungee cord jumping. Someone should have made sure she was tied off. It was just a really bad scene. As well as the Spider-Man of Yemen. He was falling into a volcano and they had to bring his body up. Really sad news there from these daredevils dying. They're doing a Fly reboot with Adam Driver, which sounds kind of interesting. Obsession, the director said he's not focused on making a sequel anytime soon, but it could be a franchise. Masters of the Universe, second weekend drop off. It made 71% drop, so it's not making much money. It just made $87 million. So Matt Damon, like I said, wants to do another Jason Bourne. And let's see, the deal is set to close at the beginning of 2027 for Fox buying Roku. Getting into the streaming service, very hardcore-like, because most digital smart TVs have Roku built into them. So now they're going to be getting Fox on them as well. Okay. Fox is getting Tubi as well. They're getting all of them, guys. Jelly Roll has broken up with his wife after nearly 10 years of marriage, which is really sad. Season 3 opening for, I said Game of Thrones, or not Game of Thrones, House of Dragon was really huge. Jason Momoa claims on the red carpet of Supergirl in Brazil that it'd be really fun if his girlfriend, Adria Arjona, was Wonder Woman. And he just claims she's hot. It's obvious she's hot. She should be in the role. I think that was a stupid comment he made. It doesn't confirm anything, but James Gunn hasn't addressed it either. He didn't, squash it. So people are just running with it. Supergirl's runtime was revealed as well. It's only 1 hour and 47 minutes. So they're saying it's like roughly 90 minutes, which I'm not too bummed about that. I think that's perfect runtime for a Supergirl movie. I mean, it's not a lot of story to dive into, I don't think. But maybe they could have added 20 more minutes or something, maybe post-credit scene. There'll probably be post-credit. So I'm not too upset. But that's all the news that is fit to print. Thank you very much for sticking with me for these videos. Have a good day and stay safe out there. I'll catch you in another video of mine. Bye-bye.